Year 4, welcome to the second lesson in our multiplication and division unit, which today is going to be all about written multiplication methods. So what I'd like to do is just pause the video for a moment while you write today's date and the learning objective in your book, which is to use written methods for multiplication. Pause the video and do that now, please. Okay, so we're going to do 3 different types of written methods today. We're going to be using a number line, we're going to be using place value counters and place value grids, and we're going to be using part whole models. And we've come across all 3 of those things in year 4. So they are things that you should be quite familiar with. We're going to use them to help us with our multiplying numbers. So just to get our brains warmed up, ready for learning, I'd like to have a look at this question. It says, what calculation is shown below? And can you find more than one? So what I'd like you to do is have a look at the picture at the bottom. There's 3 boxes of tomatoes, and in each box there are 14 tomatoes. How could you represent that calculation in numbers? And can you find more than one way? Just pause the video and have a little go. So with your 3 boxes of tomatoes, you could have represented that calculation in 2 different ways. So a simple way would be to do a repeated addition. So it would be 14 add 14 add 14, and the answer would be 42. But I wonder whether any of you managed to find a different way of representing 14 add 14 add 14. You could, because we've got 3 boxes of tomatoes, you could have had 3 lots of, or multiplied by 14. And the answer is still 42. So it's 2 different ways of representing the same calculation. I wonder if you got that. Okay, so one of the methods of multiplication that we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using number lines. And even if you think you know how to multiply, I'd still like you to have a go at using the number line, because it's really important that we know how we can use them for different calculations. So let's have a look at this one together. There's 5 classes in year 4. Each class has 27 students. So what we're looking for is how many students there are in year 4 altogether. So we need to know what maths we're trying to do. So the multiplication question we're trying to work out is 27 times by 5. Now, from our learning yesterday, we did some work on partitioning, didn't we? Now, I can see that 27, we can make this into a more manageable number by partitioning it. 27, we can partition into a 10, another 10, and a 7. And what we need to do is we need to multiply all of these numbers, this 27, by 5. And we're going to use the number line to help us. So we start off with 10 times by 5. That's an easy one. That's 50. 10 times 5 or 5 times 10, remember they're commutative. Now I've multiplied by this 10, so I'm just going to cross it out so I don't forget that I've done that. Then I'm going to multiply by another 10, so another 10 times 5. and that equals another 50. So we add the 50 on. 50 add 50 takes us to 100. And then we've got 7 left to multiply by. So we do 7 times by 5, which equals 35. So we have to add the 35 onto this 100, and that gives us 135. So 27 times by 5 equals 135. Now, what you're going to do is have a go at one on your own using a number line. The question you're going to be looking at is, Jack has 7 packs of coloured pencils. Each pack has 26 pencils. So what we want to know is how many pencils he has altogether. So I'd like you to have a go at working this out using a number line. Remember, to make the numbers more manageable, partition the 26 into tens and ones. Pause the video now and have a go. So, okay, your working out should look something like this. I partitioned the 26 into a 10, and a 6, and all of those numbers have to be multiplied by 7. So 10 times 7 is 70, so I'm going to write 70 along here. We've got another 10 times 7, which is another 70, so we have to add that on. That gives us 140. 6 times 7 equals 42. So we add the 42 onto the 140, which gives us a final answer of 182. So 26 multiplied by 7 equals 182. The next method we're going to look at for multiplying numbers together is using a place value grid and place value counters. So the question we're looking at is 24 multiplied by 3. That's 3 lots of 24. So what you can see is I've done 10 and a 10, which is 20, and 4 ones, so that's 1 lot of 24, 2 lots of 24, 3 lots of 24. So we can add together how many ones we've got and how many tens. So as you can see in the ones column, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we've got 12 ones in there. And now we add the tens. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tens, which is 60. So to find the final answer, we just add these two together. So 60 add 12 equals 72. So 24 times by 3 equals 72. So the final way that we're going to look at today is using a part-whole model. Now, part-whole model is where we partition the numbers into tens and ones, or hundreds if you're multiplying by hundreds. So what I'd like you to do is have a think about how you can partition these numbers into the part-whole model and then multiply the tens by 3 and the ones by 3. Pause the video and have a go at that now. Okay, so when you've partitioned the numbers, 46 becomes 40 and 6, and you multiply them both by 3. So 40 times by 3, well, we know that 4 times 3 is 12. So 40 times by 3 is 120. And 6 times by 3 is 18. So if we add these together, we get 138. I wonder if you got that right. Give yourself a pat on the back if you did. So now it's your turn to do some work. I'm going to run through the fluency, the reasoning and the problem solving with you, and you'll be able to mark your own work after each section. So for your fluency today, you're going to be first of all using counters to calculate the answer to the question. And secondly, you're going to be using a part-whole model to partition these calculations and work out the different answers. So if you're going to do the mild challenge, just pause the video now. For the spicy challenge, you're doing exactly the same. You're using counters to calculate 36 times 4, and you're using part-whole models to partition the calculations and work them out. So if you're going to do the spicy challenge, then pause the video now, please. And those of you going for the extra hot challenge today, again, you're going to be using the counters to calculate 47 times by 4. Remember that when you've got 10 ones, you can cross 10 off and move a 10 into the tens column. And remember that 10 tens equals 100. That might help you. If you're going to do the extra hot challenge, just pause the video now. So now you can mark your own work. If you've got the answer right, just put a tick. If you've got it wrong, see if you can track back through your working out to see where you might have made a mistake and see if you can correct it. So pause the video now to mark your answers to the fluency questions.